I want to talk about the once I know I talked about it on Wednesday about the Street Fighter Five patch, but apparently like Ono has like found out and like let me just switch over. Maybe that's the problem. So let me switch over because I want to talk about this because it made me feel a certain type of way because I've heard people try to come on and say like, look, man, you shouldn't be messaging Capcom fighters. They're the esports team, and you shouldn't be yelling at these people. You shouldn't be so angry. And I'm like, yo, I understand. It's the internet. People are going to be mad. But, I mean, that anger is always based off of something else. What's good, Gamer Composer? Yeah, that is a problem. But I want to show this real quick, man. So let me show this real fast. So apparently, Ono finally found out about the Street Fighter Five patch and how this one person, this one amazing developer, managed to fix the netcode, the online gaming for Street Fighter Five, something that Capcom has been working on for supposedly 4 years, and made it not save, but they made it feel like to us customers, gamers, like it was like nearly impossible to fix. But this one person in less than 2 days managed to just solve the problem for PC players, and they've been having a great time. And by the way, for those that are interested in the patch, if you have Street Fighter Five on PC and you get the patch, which is very well, it's a little semi difficult, but there's like at least a few YouTube videos to explain how to download the patch. But when you get it, the patch will fix you for being able to play online, but it won't fix other people. So if you have the patch and another player you play against has the patch for Street Fighter Five, you guys can play against each other, and it'll fix any online instabilities whatsoever, and you'll actually have an amazing time playing online. But if you have the patch on PC and another PC player doesn't have the patch, any problems when you two face each other are more going to go towards the other person for not having a patch. So like say you have like a semi decent internet connection. They have like probably the best of the best, but I mean even internet connection doesn't really make that big of a deal. But just say if like you kind of have like iffy connection and they have like really good one, but you have this patch, they're going to have shit connection to the point where it's like it's going to be hard for them to play. And then it's even worse when you do the cross platform. Like if you have the patch and you play against a PS4 user, they're pretty much gonna be like screwed to the point where they might get kicked out, and then the game will assume that they register that as them rage quitting. And then of course we all know about the rage quitting rule. If you rage quit in Street Fighter Five, after a few times you get put into like this little rage quitter hell with other players, and that's not exactly where you want to be, especially in that game with the horrible connection that has. But once again, it's just the fact that this patch has just done something amazing. PS4 players are complaining about this patch. Even the person that developed the patch is working on the patch in a way where people who have it on PC won't fuck up other people who don't want to have the patch, which is understandable. But the whole point is, and I think this is like, this kind of deserves it, where it's just like, people have been so mad, they've been going on to like Capcom Fighters, which is the esports section of, Street Fighter, and they've been basically complaining. Then at the same time, they've also been complaining about, people have been, just trying to figure out where to go to vent their frustrations. And I think that's a very important thing. And as much as people say like, yo, we shouldn't be yelling and running to other people and death threats. And I'm like, yo, I respect that. You shouldn't be sending no death threats. You shouldn't be like cursing at somebody. But you should definitely curse at this situation, because it's kind of like, who the fuck is this? Like, yo, like, I don't want to be disrespectful or mean or none, but I'm like, who was this guy to just come out of nowhere and do this amazing, wonderful fucking thing? He said it took him 2 days to just do this. 2 days to just like fix this like problem that took 4 years, and it's still not solved yet. And it's just crazy. So like a lot of people are just like, well, who do we complain to? And people have mostly went to Yoshiroshi Ono and just fucking complained to him. And I understand, like, there have been some, like, apparently, well, the tweet before is gone, but it was, like, a really disrespectful tweet, man. Like, this guy was, like, cursing at him, disrespecting Ono, and saying, like, yo, man, what the fuck you doing? And it's just like, yo, I get it. I get it. That person was mad, and there are other people that are mad because they're just like, well, it's amazing how someone just managed to fix this in 2 days. And I love bringing that up, but even I'm frustrated about it. But let's sit down and really, I had to really think about it, and I was trying to Google it. But where do you go to complain about like video games? Like, I don't know if that's been a thing, but like, we've had so many shitty games. Where do you go to complain? So like, I kind of wanna just Google it real fast. So like, let's just put in like Capcom customer service. Okay, so there's a customer service. All right, so but this seems like Monster Hunter World support. And then let's see. Okay, so you can contact Capcom. Let's see. Oh, okay. Whoops, that's definitely well, that's Capcom, but that's not Capcom. uh, so like, I guess you could call like Capcom, but this is like for Monster Hunter World support. So like Capcom customer service, for or just I don't know, like so like these are your options. So then like okay, so then let's look up Capcom USA, um, Capcom USA Twitter, at least for me. So like okay, so Capcom USA, there's so you could easily tweet Capcom USA, just let them know what's going on, or you can go one step further. Um, Capcom USA CEO. All right. So I mean, we kind of have something. We kind of have this. Let's just click that. All right. So we have a telephone number. We have an address. No email though. So what I'm trying to do is like I'm trying to see like, well, if the problem is like we have complaints and we have problems and we want to vent our frustrations, where do we go to? Like, it sucks that the first thing, or like what most people decided to do was like go to, like, Ono is the producer of Street Fighter V, and I feel like going to his Twitter page and tweeting him is good. But I just don't like the fact that people was cursing at him. Like, I think you're allowed to curse at the situation. Like, you can definitely say, "Hey, Ono, man, why the fuck is Street Fighter V still got this shitty netcode and this one person like fix this problem?" Like, I think that's fine. Just don't curse at someone or like do death threats at someone or be like, "Yo, man, fuck you," because you guys aren't doing shit. 'Cause I mean, I know for like, I think at this point we should all know that developers are basically working as hard as they can, and it's there's something between them and all the way to the head of Capcom. There's like this weird there's just weird line, and somewhere between this connection between like the developer and the owner of Capcom, or the person who's like really running this project, somewhere between this line, some kind of communication, some type of problem, some type of shit is just being ignored, and this is the problem. And I think this is like something we really need to just sit down and be like, all right, man, we need to figure out what the fuck's going on, because if it shouldn't be that hard. Like, we now know that it wasn't that hard to fix the netcode for Street Fighter V. So now I'm really sitting down to think about like what other problems could have really been solved a lot sooner for Street Fighter V, because I'm frustrated. And I think that's another good thing too. You can be mad, but at least describe why you're mad about Street Fighter V. For me, I'm frustrated and annoyed because I really like Street Fighter V at one point, season 1. And then season 2 was like, what the fuck? And, but that was like more character based. And the fact that the online even in season 1 was bad. And then even when I tried to come back other times, the online is still bad. Even now, I tried to get into Street Fighter V, and I think season 5 is like probably at its best state since 1. But at the same time, it's just like, man, that online is really kicking my ass, and I'm like, yo, I'm not finna put myself through this. Like, that's why I'm like playing BB Tag. But I mean, I'm really glad I'm playing BB Tag. This was the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm like super extra omega happy. But yeah, man, it's just like kind of frustrating. Like, yo, what the fuck? Oh man, I clicked the wrong button. Uh, but yeah, it's just like, where do we go to vent our frustrations? And then at the same time, it's just like, well, what the fuck, man? Like what is going on in Capcom? Like, what I feel like there needs to be an expose. So I don't know if like, yo, what's good, Ashley Cook? How you doing, man? I see. Appreciate you hopping on the stream. But yeah, man, like, where do we go to for these problems? If you get what I'm saying. And then at the same, like, I just want like an expose. Like, how like Anthem kind of went through its thing with like from Jason. I don't know if y'all saw the Anthem report where like Jason from Kotaku pretty much just did an expose explaining the backstory of like why the fuck Anthem is like why Anthem ended up being the way Anthem was. And I feel like that just needs to be the case for Street Fighter. Like, we just need to get an expose because there's so much bullshit, or there's so much like crap that's just not being explained. And for us, as like customers and gamers, we don't know what's going on in the back doors. We have no idea what the fuck is going on behind the scenes. For us, it feels like Capcom is just like, oh man, let's make this product. Let's make this product super fast, release it, and make sure that we get our money, and then that be the end of it. It feels like Capcom ain't doing shit. It really feels that way, especially for Street Fighter V. It feels like they just released the super half-ass baked product, didn't give two fucks about it, made sure they got all our money from us, made sure to like just give a little bit of that money to the esports in order to get more people, and then that's pretty much, and they try to promote the Street Fighter V brand to the point where it can be in esports, but not really esports. Like, it just feels like they don't really give two fucks about us, and they just care about the money. Because there's like more costumes and all that stuff than like little problems that we've been looking for. Like, besides character balance and stuff like that, it just feels like Capcom just doesn't give two shits about Street Fighter V. Now, granted, that is definitely not the case, but it just feels like that to us. And I can understand that frustration and annoyance that other people have. Like, I think people deserve to be upset. The problem is we just don't know who the fuck to complain to. But I think we need to just calm the fuck down when we do complain. Like, we shouldn't do death threats. We shouldn't be like, oh man, fuck you, you're a horrible person, oh no. Nah, it'd be nice to know where the fuck is going on. But, like little shit like this. So like look at this video, man. Let me turn up the volume. See? Look. Can you blame us? Can you blame like fucking gamers just making videos like this? Yo, but this shit is funny though. Look at this. Oh, random PC modder. Yo, this shit is funny though, bro. Look at that. PC Netcode face. And then, granted, this is based off like the Street Fighter Cross Tekken game, but even that was a piece of shit. But yeah, like, can you really blame us for being upset? You know what? I'm gonna message Jason. Let me see. I know a friend. I'm gonna message Jason. I kind of want to like just add him, but this is the guy I'm talking about. I can't pronounce his last name too well, but he pretty much has like done a really good expose off of like quite a few games, and like he's always managed to find like the bullshit on why a certain game like the way it is the way it is. And he also does it in a way where it's like, for us, we understand like, yo, these people have really been working on this. But at the same time, it's just like, man, there's something going on between the person behind this desk working on this game, coming in, doing the 9 to 5, and the person who's like in charge of the whole entire company. Like somewhere between this line of like that, there's something going on with the communication where it's just not going through. And at this point, it's just like, bro, we can't have this no more. Like, I think as gamers, especially fighting game players, we need to sit down and we honestly need to be like, yo, if a game doesn't have certain shit, I cannot support it and I will hop to something else. Yes, it means you might, that means you're going to start over. And when you start over, that means you're going to get your ass kicked a lot. Granted, you see me do it a lot in fucking BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. I don't know shit about. Well, I know just a tiny bit about Persona. I don't know shit about BlazBlue, and I 1000% don't know shit about Unbirth and Arcane Hearts and all that other stuff. So, I mean, I'm like, fuck it. I'd rather start over than me tied down and boggled to Street Fighter fucking 5 or KOF 14. But there's a little bit more of KOF 14. It's not as, I say KOF 14 because I have like a little bit of problems. And the online is not too bad, but I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and say like, I just comparing the two between KOF 14 and 13 and the online problems and the gameplay and stuff. I just say like, if I have to deal with this bullshit, I'd rather deal with 13. But like even if 14 online was like a little bit better, I'd be like, fuck it, I'll deal with 14. I'll play it. But I have problems with KOF 14's online, but that's why I don't do it. But yeah, man, I think we just need to all sit down as gamers and we need to just decide as fighting game players and gamers in general, like, what the fuck do we want in our video games? What the fuck do we want in our fighting games? I know for me, I have a list. I put number one, I want good netcode. Like, especially for a fighting game. I said this on Wednesday, I'm going to say it again today. I don't like the fact that I have to say this. You don't have to say this in a shooting game. You don't have to say this in an MMO game. Online should be a high priority since the main way you get better and the main way you really want to continue playing a fighting game is to play against other people. That should be the number one thing you focus on. Number two, you got to have a good, training mode. Like, training mode should have frame data. I don't know. We should not have to pay for frame data. I hate the fact that I have to Google and, like, do super omega research for fucking frame data. Frame data is important. We all know this. This is a common fact. Frame data should be in the game. I'm pretty sure when they do patches and balance patches and stuff, they have the game up on one screen on their computer, and there's another screen on where they have frame data up on their computer. Like, I'm pretty sure they have like two or three monitors. The game's on one monitor, some frame data is on another, character models is on another, or whatever. I'm not too sure, but at least frame data is there. Frame data needs to be in the game. If you go on all these fucking updates, we gotta have frame data with training mode. We gotta have a good recording system. What can we do on knockdown? Like, what can we do when we block? What can we do, throw second? Like, Street Fighter 5 has a really good training mode. And what's another good one? Skullgirls has a really good training mode, where you're pretty much able to test any situation. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 had a really good training mode, too. Tekken has a semi-good training mode. It's not bad, but I mean, there could be a little bit more. But I'll take what I can get in that one. It's still not bad. So a good training mode, a good tutorial mode where you're able to pick this character. We get the button presses, we get the combos. They kind of explain what the buttons are for. Explaining what our options are on offense and defense. Mortal Kombat 11, if I were to say this right now, has a really good tutorial mode. BlazBlue has BB Tag has an okay one, but I think Mortal Kombat 11 out of all of them right now has a really good tutorial mode. Like, really good. Really, really good. But it's just like, you have to kind of know what the situations are. But I put that down. Really good tutorial mode. And then, at least for me, you got to have something amazing for offline. Like, you got to have like a good story mode or an arcade mode. Like, you have to have something that makes us continue to play. Like, if we just want to play offline against people, or if we have friends and family members that just want to come and they want to play the game, but they don't want to get their ass kicked online, like, we need a good versus where you can do CPU versus CPU or a person against a CPU. You know, I think Granblue's gonna have a really good one because they're gonna have an RPG mixed into their. So, like, their single player mode is gonna be an RPG. I think that's like really fucking amazing. I know Tekken 6, and Tekken 5 have really good offline, just single player functions. Because you were able to play like, it wasn't like super good, but it was like really good at the time of what it was doing. Where it was just like you could pick a character, and this character would just do like the, like face random enemies, not like fighting, but it was just like an action adventure. So it was like a fighting game that turned into an action adventure game. But I thought that was pretty cool, and I don't know. I think those are like my 4 important things that I would like in a fighting game. Oh, and a really good replay feature. But I mean, a replay is always important, so I feel like that's a given, so I shouldn't even have to say it. But I mean, yeah, that would just be nice. Wouldn't that be nice to have in a fighting game? So I feel like at the end of the day, I think we all need to just sit down. I think everybody needs to just sit down. We need to just figure out what the fuck we want in a fighting game. I don't think there's anything wrong with people being upset at Street Fighter V. Just don't curse at people and, threaten them. But I mean, that should be common fucking sense. But I mean, if you're going to be angry, you gotta at least describe why you're angry. I'm frustrated and annoyed that, Street Fighter V online kind of got fixed for PC, and here I am. I probably would be a little bit more angry if I didn't, find BB Tag. And yeah, that's, oof. I don't know. I just wanted to get that off my chest because I was like, yo. And then also another thing is, shit. I mean, even I tried to Google word. I mean, I guess talking to Ono was a good idea, but also I think, just calling fucking Capcom. Look, man, we found it. We found a customer service. Let's see. We found a customer service. So let me just, we found it. Hold on, let's go back. We got Capcom customer service. Granted, it's for Monster Hunter World, but I mean, it's something. I would call them and just be like, "Yo, man, what the fuck?" Like, I would like, if I was really annoyed and upset about it, and I really wanted to complain, instead of me just being like, on the internet, like, "Yo, fuck this," and I'm like, that's fine to put on your page. You can be like, "Yo, man, fuck all this," but I mean, I would call. All right. No, I got that off my chest.